In my opinion, everything about this fight is just all wrong. Now I understand that Eddie Hearn is a promoter. He likes to keep his fighters busy. But when you look at who Luis Ortiz is fighting, in David Allen, who's only had 11 fights, by the way, this will be his 12th fight. He's 24 years old, 9 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. He turned pro in 2012. He only had 1 fight in 2012, 1, 2, 3 fights in 2013, 1, 2, 3, 4 fights in 2014, 2 fights in 2015, and now this is his 3rd fight in 2016. Most notable opponents, of course, his last fight against Dylan White, Jason Cavern, and of course, there's nothing of any note after that. But now he's fighting Luis Ortiz, the heavyweight that many consider to be the best heavyweight in the world, in 12 fights. Now, it is said that he begged Eddie Hearn for this fight. But I asked in my first video for this fight is, well, who is his promoter? And I believe it was told to me that he's a part-time Matchroom fighter. Basically, he's co-promoted by somebody. But it's like, who signed on for this? Now, I understand that he's a warrior and all kind of stuff like that, but what if he gets really, really hurt bad in there? Then that's when people are going to start asking the questions of, well, why is this kid with such inexperience in there with a Cuban school Luis Ortiz? You know? For example, look at the guys that he's fought. 3-10, 4-3, 0-2-2, 2-1, 4-37, and 4, 1, 10-6. That's the only the fighters that had positive records, right, was 4-3-1. Laszlo, sounds the fucking guy from fucking Grand Theft Auto. 2-1, Oliver Nagy. 1-1-1, that's 500. Plyman Nikolov. Larry Olambuio, 10-6. God knows what these records are now because these are past opponents. Then you put a guy who was 19-34, a guy who was 4 wins, 37 losses, and 4 draws. Jason Cavern, 27-20, but he's a respectable, he's a respectable heavyweight for guys like Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, and David Allen, like a guy that kind of like a domestic level gatekeeper. He's the guy you fight and you beat him and you go on to fight somebody that's a little bit above him and then you go into a world title shot. And then you have Dylan White, who was 17-1 when he fought him. But then he's fighting Luis Ortiz. If you've seen the weigh-in, he weighed in at 258.5 pounds. Luis Ortiz, 241. Luis Ortiz is, maintaining his weight pretty well. Looking at David Allen, he looked like he was pregnant in there. So, my God. How long? I mean, I guess you didn't know he was going to get the fight because his last fight against Dylan White, he's now 20 pounds heavier. And you can see it. You can see it. The biggest he's been was 264, and that was back in 2013. But he's 258. My God. And you see his stomach's all sticking out, and I'm thinking, Eddie Hearn, I'm an Eddie Hearn fan and supporter, but it's like, my God, bro, you're leading this poor sacrificial lamb to the slaughter. And I'm going to be watching it. It's Luis Ortiz. I'm going to be watching it, because the thing is, this card is filled with a lot of fighters who are likely going to get fucked up. I just hope that he doesn't get seriously hurt, and I hope that his corner, when he gets in real trouble, I understand, let him go out on a shield, but still, he's still young. You don't want him to, he's still young. You see what I'm saying? And I already know that if he gets hurt, God forbid that he gets hurt, there's going to be people talking about, well, why was he in there in the first place? Talk about that shit now. He should not be in there at this stage in his career. And I'm thinking he must not be a full-time Matchroom fighter, because if it was one of Eddie Hearn fighters, he wouldn't do this to him. From what I've seen and learned from Eddie Hearn, he would have had him build his name up, keep building his name up, keep building his name up. Now he's just the 24-year-old journeyman. It's fucked up, but it is what it is. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. All the links to my social media are right down below. Also, some breaking news is, we talked about it before, but now it seems as though it's going to be a reality that if Luis Ortiz wins, which he's heavily favored to win, that he's going to fight Shannon Briggs for the WBA regular belt. The WBA belt in February. Can you believe that? Luis Ortiz versus Shannon Briggs. You know, it's like, Shannon Briggs is the underdog, and where does he go from there if he wins? But either way, he did so well for himself. I wouldn't be surprised if he'll still be popular after the Luis Ortiz, but he's got to get some conditioning. He's got to work on that conditioning. You know, he can't just be relying on a one-punch knockout, even though he will knock you. Shannon Briggs has he got that Rocky Balboa. You know, the one before Creed, he got that power. You know, you don't want him to touch you. He's fine with bricks. You know, I'm not talking about loaded gloves. I'm saying he hit hard as shit. You know, you don't want to deal with that. You know, he punched you in the stomach, clean, you're going down. You know, you take one on the chin, you know, you're going down. But he just, you know, he's not mobile, but he hasn't been mobile for a decade. So, tomorrow's going to be lit, yo. Tomorrow's going to be lit. The heavyweight division, you know, with these heavyweight fights right here, a lot of people in the UK are saying, you know, I don't know why I'm buying this fight, or Eddie Hearn should be ashamed of himself for making this pay-per-view. Yo, you motherfuckers over there getting spoiled. For real. Anyway, I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. All links to my social media right down below. In the description box, I'm going to be uploading highlights and watching all this stuff and all these fights, all the way from the beginning of the day, from Joseph Parker to Andy Ruiz, all the way ending the day. I'm going to be working like 24 hours with Terrence Crawford, John Molina, and Chavez versus Brits, which will likely be the last fight of the night. Please subscribe. TstreeT Controversy, TstreeT Controversy Live.